Last but not in our ranking series, we are going to finish off with the tight ends. Let's get into it. Hey, yo! Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for our tight end tier rankings we got going on for our fantasy football and best ball drafts. Before we deep dive into the tight ends, because we have some juiciness in there, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetsJetsD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about the Patreon. What you're going to see right now is my record in the last 17 selections. I am 12-5. This is a tournament we're doing with a whole bunch of other cappers right now, and I am number one at the top of that list. 12-5 in my last 17 selections of my top plays. So guys, if you want successful top plays, go to that link down below. That's where the Patreon is. That's where these hot top plays are located. Get signed up right now so you can get signed up for the plays, get signed up for fantasy and best ball content. The rankings are going to be in there as well, up to date. Obviously, that's going to be watching the news and staying focused on the training camp. That's going to be coming out in August. So get ready. Get signed up right now. Guys, if you're a viewer and not currently a subscriber, go ahead and click that subscribe button right now. And when you're viewing this video, go ahead and leave a comment. You can talk about anything. It doesn't matter, especially in those best ball videos. There's been craziness going on. Now, leave me a comment down below right now, and tell me who you think is going to be a sleeper tight end this year. Starting off at the top, like we have been doing in each and every one of these ranking videos, we have the league winners. As you can see, it's league winners, breakout candidates, solid floor with elite upside. Can they do it again? Sleepers and later upside. All right. If you feel like, down below, comment. Let me know a tight end that you have for each of one of these categories. Maybe you have a league winner that I don't put in the current category right now, because right now I only have two. Maybe you have a different breakout candidate. Throw that in there. Maybe you have someone that's a solid floor with elite upside. So watch this whole entire video and then comment down below and tell me where you have one of these tight ends, maybe in a higher or lower tier. So let me know in that comment section down below. But we're going to start off with the first one. Obviously, it is clear cut. This is Travis Kelce. He is the number one tight end to have. All right. That's why he's going in the first round. Obviously, he had a career season last year, and there's no debate. There's no debate. All right. The only thing that can stop Travis Kelce is health. That is the only thing, because there is no competition in that wide receiver core for the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are best of friends. They are like this, and that's not going to change. Okay. So the only thing that's going to stop him is going to be injury. All right. So maybe this is the season. You don't know. But as long as he's healthy, he is the number one tight end. All right. The next guy we got is Mark Andrews. A little bit of a down season last year, but that was mainly because Lamar Jackson did not play the complete season. All right. We're changing over guard from their previous regime running the football. And they're going in with a Todd Monken offense, more weapons on the Baltimore Ravens side. So you can say, hey, there's going to be a little bit more target competition, but Mark Andrews is still that number one guy in this offense. He is that alpha that they have, despite the fact that they added so much talent to their wide receiver core. Yes, it's old talent. Yes, there's new talent, and there's some injury talent. So a mixed bag of everything. But this is a huge improvement that what they had from last year. So can there be a little bit discrepancy with target share because they have Odell Beckham, Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers? Yes, you could say that, but the connection that Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson have in an offense that's going to be throwing the football at a higher clip, that is something that you want to take full advantage of, because Mark Andrews has been super, super consistent each and every year. And you still see his numbers didn't fluctuate without Lamar. It wasn't that big of a hit, okay? But Lamar's back and healthy. He has his contract. These are the two league winners that we got for this season, Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews. Let's go on to the breakout candidates. Next up, for our second tier, we have the breakout candidates. The first guy we're going to speak on will be the Philadelphia Eagles' Dallas Goedert. Now, this tight end here, he was on his way to having a very good season before he got injured. And then after he got injured, you saw the rise of Devonta Smith. And I think people are taking this on the wayside and thinking just Dallas Goedert just a regular tight end. No, he is one of these guys that this season can finish top 5, even top 3. All right, he has that type of upside, especially in the Philadelphia Eagles offense. If we're just looking at the numbers, all right, before he got injured, Dallas Goedert from week 1 through 10. If you're looking at these targets, as you see this picture here, there was a 24.4 target percentage to the tight end position from week 1 through 10. So there was consistency here. You're talking about 24% target share to the tight end position, mainly Dallas Goedert, because they really don't have a backup tight end here. So the Philadelphia Eagles were focusing in on that tight end position. As you can see, the wide receiver targets were only at a 64.2, and they don't throw to the running backs that much as well, only under 12%. So that's a huge target share. Let's go on and see, once he was hurt and then he came back, they didn't really get Dallas Goedert back into the swing of things at all in the second half of the season once he came back. Now look at the numbers. The Philadelphia Eagles, the tight end percentage went down from 24% to 12.7%. They were not utilizing the tight ends as much, obviously, because the majority of the season they weren't even using Dallas Goedert. They had to adapt, okay? So as you can see, that dropped from the tight end percentage from 24 to 12. And you saw the increase of the wide receiver targets. So that was more of a target share going towards Devonta Smith, and those wide receivers were getting now close to 75% targets. So that's a huge adjustment there. With Dallas Goedert being back into the fold, you should see more of a balanced offense here, and more of Dallas Goedert being the number 2 option in this offense. I think that's going to be very surprising for some people to understand that Devonta Smith was kind of the number 3. If we're looking at targets, it was A.J. Brown, it was then Dallas Goedert, and then Devonta Smith. That's going to be very intriguing to see. I think where he's going right now, Dallas Goedert is an absolute steal. All right. The next guy we're going to be talking about is Darren Waller. Darren Waller did have a little bit of an injury-prone season. You had Derek Carr in the mix in Las Vegas, throwing pretty much only to Devonta Adams. So they had that connection there. Darren Waller was really out of the mix, just running mostly go routes here, and he fell to the wayside. And now he gets a new opportunity in the New York Giants offense as a clear-cut number 1 option. There is no competition when you're looking at the receiving core of the New York Giants. We're talking about a bunch of slot guys: Wan'Dale Robinson, Sterling Shepard, Paris Campbell, Isaiah Hodgins, and Darius Slayton, not to mention the rookie Jalen Hyatt. So it's a bunch of no-name guys, but you have a clear-cut number 1 alpha in Darren Waller. This is going to be his case to being a breakout candidate this season. All he has to do is stay healthy, and there could be a very huge season coming forward for Darren Waller in this Brian Daboll offense, okay? This is a guy that they're going to focus around him and get the completion percentage up a little bit higher for Daniel Jones, getting a big body wide receiver right here in Darren Waller. Perfect guy to complement this offense. David Bellinger did solidly last year, but they needed someone to take this receiving core to the next level. Darren Waller will be that guy. All right, next as a breakout candidate, we have David Njoku. Last year, I was all over David Njoku. I loved his upside because of the offense he was in with the Cleveland Browns. That Cleveland Browns offense, I showed the stats last year. They threw to the tight end position at a close to 30% clip. If we're looking at the numbers from last year, it was right around that range. They threw, as you can see, the Cleveland Browns threw to the tight end at 26.3%. The only thing that stopped David Njoku was a little bit of a stint out of a couple of games that he missed. He was on his way to being a super consistent tight end option. He got hurt, came back, and he became more of a red zone option for Deshaun Watson. So that's going to be a good thing as well. You know, they already got a rapport in the red zone. Deshaun Watson looking for a big body type of receiver in David Njoku, super athletic. And I like how they were using David Njoku the entire season pretty much. They were using him in tight end screens, getting him in space, and then he can create. This man is very athletic. So I love David Njoku as a breakout candidate yet again this season. Last year, you got him a bit of a discount. He's risen up to around that round 10 range, so still very cheap. You can wait on tight end and go get you David Njoku just a little bit later. All right, the next guy we got will be Chig Nkonkwo. And I'm going to leave this picture up. Yet again, it goes for Chig Nkonkwo as well. The reason why we like him, obviously the athleticism is through the roof for Chig Nkonkwo. The target competition pretty much is just Chig, and it's going to be Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks needs to step up as the number one wide receiver in this offense. And then Chig is going to be that number two guy in the Tennessee Titans offense. But the key component here is that the Tennessee Titans always throw to the tight ends, all right? They're number 3 in the league with tight end target share at 28%, all right? Last year was Austin Hooper. Austin Hooper is totally gone, and now the guy will be athletic Chig Nkonkwo, all right? These are not, obviously the targets are a little bit different because this is the team that runs the ball a little bit more. They have lesser talent throwing them the football in Ryan Tannehill, who is on the brink right now. It's pretty much between Ryan Tannehill and Will Levis. We'll see what goes on in training camp. Maybe Will Levis can turn things up and become the number 1 quarterback before week 1, but we will see. All right, but it still doesn't matter. You have a big target share here at that tight end position for Chig Nkonkwo. This is how I discovered David Njoku last year. Same thing goes for Chig Nkonkwo in a shaky offensive, but he is going to be one of those guys that's going to get a high target share because that's the only talent that they have, all right, as a receiving option, okay? Treylon Burks, and then you got Chig. Other than that, it gets really ugly. Westbrook and Keeney, Chris Moore, you're really dumpster diving at that wide receiver core for the tight end. That's why Chig is boosted so high, and he can be a breakout candidate this season, all right? The next guy we're going to talk about, this beautiful mane that you see right here is Greg Dolce, baby. Greg Dolce is going to be a huge breakout candidate this season under Sean Payton in this offense, all right? He had a breakout despite the fact he missed the first 6 games of the year, and the poor performance from Russell Wilson. You still had a very solid performance from Greg Dolce that you can see light at the end of the tunnel. Now you're throwing in Sean Payton, and look at these quotes. Sean Payton is mesmerized from Greg Dolce, okay? As you can see, I've been lucky enough to have had Jeremy Shockey, Jason Witten, Jimmy Graham, and I'm probably leaving out a couple guys. I'm not saying this young player, but he has traits that are exciting, and today was one of those days where you begin to see that he has a vision, all right? Now, Payton already is describing him as a joker in his offense, okay? When you're talking about Sean Payton, the jokers in his offense have been Reggie Bush, Darren Sproles, Alvin Kamara, and Dolce will have that job this season. So that is huge, all right? He is a big body, athletic tight end. So all these breakout candidates have something very similar in common. All these guys, besides Dallas Goedert, All these guys are super, super athletic athletes at that freaks. They're freaks at the tight end position. That's Darren Waller. That's Njoku. That's Chig. That's for Greg Dolce as well. And we'll talk about Gerald Everett very, very soon. But this is someone right here. We already got Sean Payton on his side, who just came over to Denver, and he is loving him just like Nathaniel Hackett loved Greg Dolce as well last year. All right. And now, last but not least, for the breakout candidates, we have Gerald Everett. Gerald Everett was very quiet last year. And there's a little consistency here with Justin Herbert and his tight ends. They continue to have above average performances. And now you're throwing in the fact Kellen Moore, who's going to be throwing the football and rushing this pace to a whole nother level on this offense. He came over from the Dallas Cowboys, coming over to the LA Chargers, and you saw what Kellen Moore did to Dalton Schultz. Now, if you put Gerald Everett in the same situation, we have a more athletic athlete right here in Gerald Everett, and he had 58 catches, over 500 yards last year, and 4 TDs. It could be a big season for Gerald Everett, especially where he's going right now as tight end 19 to 20 range. Man, he is an absolute steal right now. Gerald Everett is a very, very sneaky option at that tight end position. This year of all, I can definitely say is a season to be waiting for your tight ends, all right? There's a ton of guys. I'm just showing you right here across the board. All these guys are at different ranges, and you can get yourselves a top 10 tight end this season. Let's move on to solid floors with elite upside. Next up for solid floor with elite upside, we have Tyler Higbee. Yes, Tyler Higbee. I said, you want to know why? Looking at that stat, look at that right now. He finished as a top 5 tight end last season. This man, if we're looking at his player profile, shockingly came out of nowhere. All right, very consistent in previous years, but that's what the key was. It was a huge bump in his target rate here. 108 targets, 72 receptions, 620 yards, and only 3 TDs. He did it without scoring many TDs, but you saw consistency each and every week from Tyler Higbee, and this is the best value of pretty much of all the tight ends right now. Pick 127, you're getting a top 5 tight end in Tyler Higbee, who's going to see a huge target share between him and Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp obviously is the number 1, and then you have Tyler Higbee as the number 2 in this offense. A healthy Matthew Stafford here, and the fact that the Los Angeles Rams, they totally gave up on the defensive side of the ball, and they're all in on the offensive side of the ball. All right, they can't afford everyone. This team is in limbo. Okay, they can't totally tank because of Sean McVay. If they totally tank, he's going to be gone. He's going to be retired. So they have to keep it fun enough to have him still engaged in this offense and in this team. And then Cooper Kupp being healthy, Matt Stafford being healthy, and now Tyler Higbee being back into the fold, you can have a nice little trio here with the LA Rams. All right, a lot of people are shying away from this team, but guys like Cooper Kupp and guys like Tyler Higbee are very, very consistent and provide upside for your fantasy drafts this year. Right, looking back at the solid floor with elite upside, the next guy we have is George Kittle. George Kittle finished as tight end number 3 last season. Very exceptional season here. He had 765 yards receiving, 60 receptions, and the key component here, the reason why he finished number 3 overall, was 11 touchdowns. The connection between him and Brock Purdy was on a whole entire another level, better than him and Jimmy Garoppolo. Now that's the problem about George Kittle. Yes, he's one of the best tight ends in the game. Technically, he's number 2 right behind Travis Kelce to me, because he brings that all-around game to the football field. But he is very volatile in the red zone. Trying to get touchdowns, he's very, very volatile. You're either going to get a below 10 pretty much a below double-digit performance from Kittle, or you're going to have a record-breaking week from George Kittle. That's what it usually comes down to. Obviously, he had a big season with the touchdowns, had 11 TDs there, so that was a good sight to see. Brock Purdy should be coming back. We'll see how far he gets along. Maybe he starts week 1. We're going to see how his recovery is, but as long as Brock Purdy is the number one quarterback in this offense, you should still see consistency in the red zone for George Kittle. All right. So that's why he has the solid floor. He'll get you there, but really takes him to the next level. The reason why he was number 3 is because he had 11 TDs. That's what you need for him to have that elite upside. All right. Next guy we have is TJ Hawkinson, the Minnesota Vikings. We're going to leave the stat up here because pretty much these are the guys here, all in that top 5 range. You got Higbee, you got Kittle, and you have TJ Hawkinson. The Vikings went out and traded for him, and they utilized him to his full potential. Had an outstanding season, 86 receptions, 914 yards, and 6 TDs from TJ Hawkinson. And that's an outstanding year. Travis Kelce had 100 more fantasy points. That's insane. But we'll see if that happens yet again. But TJ Hawkinson is going to be a guy that you should go for in that round 5 to 6 range. I wouldn't go too higher than that. But this offense is highly, highly talented between him, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and KJ Osborne. Hawkinson, obviously, they paid a premium for him, getting him to that team, so they're going to utilize him. And that's why he has an elite upside, because his usage, he's seeing close to 100 receptions, and he can creep up to 1,000 yards as well, okay? So he's not that dependent on TDs because he is going to get a bigger target share in this offense right behind Justin Jefferson. That's how it falls in this offense. It's going to be Justin Jefferson and then Hawkinson as that number 2 target getter. Let's move on to our next section here, and can they do it again? In our next section, we're going to start off with Pat Freiermuth for the can they do it again. Last season, looking at the clip right now, Pat Freiermuth finished with 98 targets, 63 receptions, 732 receiving yards, and only 2 TDs. Obviously, if he had a few more TDs, then he could have been finished a little bit higher in the total tight end rankings, probably finished top 10. But Pat Freiermuth was very solid. The benefit coming into this second year here, you get another year under Kenny Pickett in the offense, get a little more comfortable. Kenny Pickett did not throw for that many touchdowns, and he gets another year under his belt in the Matt Canada offense, despite the fact this is not a very good offense. Matt Canada, he should not be the coordinator, but this dink and dunk system here is going to benefit Deontay Johnson, is going to benefit Pat Freiermuth, who you have right here. So if we're going to answer the question for him, can he do it again? Yes, he can. You have the same exact offense, and then you get a second year with Kenny Pickett, him developing as a better passer here. They addressed that offensive line with Broderick Jones as well. So that should give time for Pat Freiermuth to go down inseam and catch the ball aggressively. So I like Pat Freiermuth this year. You're going to get a nice baseline here of numbers that you just saw, or I'll probably leave it up, but 63 receptions, around 700 yards. And if you can get a boost of touchdowns, he can definitely finish in the top 10 this season. So I would say yes to Pat Freiermuth. All right. The next guy we have will be Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, obviously outstanding rookie season, then a huge downside in year number 2 because of Marcus Mariota. Poor accuracy down the field. That was their offense, throwing the ball deep to Kyle Pitts. But guess what? Marcus Mariota is 33rd in the league with deep pass balls, okay? Horrible. It was a horrible decision to have him as the quarterback. He cannot stretch the field accurately at all. So now you get Desmond Ridder. This has to be a better performance. So can he do it again from his first season? Yeah, he can. It can't get any worse. It can't get any worse. Marcus Mariota was horrible last year for Kyle Pitts and for the Atlanta Falcons. They did have a solid run game, but for Kyle Pitts' season, no. You have to have someone that is accurate, stretching the ball down the field. Can Ridder do that? We're going to see. You're going to have to take a risk out on Kyle Pitts. Right now, he's going around that round 7 range right now. So you're getting a little bit of a discount than what you got him from his rookie year. But you do have to bake in the fact that Desmond Ridder has to step up this year for him to pay off, okay? The next guy we have will be Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram finished as a top 5 tight end last season, all right? This man was very good, and it was a perfect combination coming over to the Jacksonville Jaguars and Doug Peterson offense, who throws to the tight end position at a very high clip. And that's why you got to see these numbers here. 98 targets, 73 receptions, 766 yards, 10.5 yards per reception, and 4 touchdowns. So that was very solid to see from Evan Ingram in this offense. But with Jacksonville, we have a big question mark here with the acquisition of Calvin Ridley. I'm proud. I'm telling you right now, he's going to see a downturn in his usage this year, right? It's not going to be the same 98 targets, 73 receptions, 766 receiving yards. It's probably going to be a downturn in those departments with receptions and receiving yards. He can balance things out if he gets more touchdowns in the red zone. That could balance things out. But you're going to see a downgrade from Evan Ingram. So I don't like where he's going right now, 77 overall. I'd much rather go get Dallas Goedert if we're looking back at the tier list. Around that pick 77, you can get Dallas Goedert. You can get Darren Waller. You can wait for David Njoku. You can wait for Chicken Conquer. You can wait for Greg Dulcich. All these options. You can wait for Tyler Higbee. All right. All these other options here. I do not think Evan Ingram can do it again this season. All right. And then last but not least, we have Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet is just a baseline guy, all right? It's going to be a benefit that they did acquire DJ Moore just to open up things for this offense. So they got someone in the intermediate and short range with DJ Moore. You have someone deep in Darnell Mooney. And you got someone big body receiver in Cole Kmet going down the seam and being a factor in the red zone. All right, that was the key for Cole Kmet. He was consistent the past 2 seasons with Justin Fields anyway. He had 60 receptions, 612 yards in 2021, but didn't have any TDs. And then you saw a progression here in the 2022 season where he had 50 receptions, 544 yards, but you saw an increase in touchdowns with 7 TDs. So things might fall in the middle for this year for Cole Kmet, and I think he can be just a borderline, probably around that tight end 13 to 10 range this season. Just someone if you're waiting longer, I'd much rather get one of the breakout candidates because they go around him or even deeper than that range. But Cole Kmet is not much of a factor. He's not going to be a breakout candidate this year. So you want someone with a little bit of juice. Cole Kmet is not going to be your guy, but he will be just borderline get you there, maybe around that 8 points per game range with Cole Kmet. All right, let's move on to the sleepers. Next up for our sleeper list here, we're going to start off with a really deep sleeper here in Mike Gesicki of the New England Patriots here. And already off the bat, this was a perfect marriage with Mike Gesicki coming over to the Patriots. Bill Belichick has been eyeing him for a while now. Bill Belichick has admired Gesicki, saying in recent years he's a hard guy to cover. Crafty route runner. He can get down the field, very good hands, make some acrobatic catches, has enough quickness to separate. He's really, I would say, more of a big receiver than a true tight end, but he functions a little bit in that spot as well. So that's what Gesicki is going to bring over to the Patriots. We already know the Patriots are well known for 2 tight end sets. Obviously, in previous seasons with Tom Brady, they've had a dynamic combination at that tight end position, and now they have it yet again with Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki is going to be running that inline range, being more of the slot slash tight end. Okay, that's what he's going to be utilized as the Aaron Hernandez in this offense. Okay, so I'm definitely going to be looking towards Mike Gesicki. He's already getting bigged up from Bill Belichick in the offense and OTAs, and obviously we're going to see what happens in training camp. Things are only going to get better for Mike Gesicki, okay? So hopefully they utilize him where he was very effective in Miami in the slot, and then you can see a big upside for Mike Gesicki, especially if they do not sign DeAndre Hopkins. He pretty much, Gesicki and Hunter Henry could be huge factors in this pass game. If they do not sign DeAndre Hopkins, and you already have an injured Juju Smith-Schuster with the knee, he has a lot of complications right now with his knee. He is not fully healthy. Then you could see the utilization of this offense going through more of the tight ends with Gesicki and with Hunter Henry, okay? Because the wide receiver core here for the Patriots is very poor, all right? We're talking about Devonta Parker being the number one wide receiver here, and that's something that you do not want, okay? Next guy we have is Juwan Johnson, super athletic talent out of New Orleans Saints. He is someone, obviously, now with Derek Carr, so maybe we can get Derek Carr connected to a tight end yet again, like he was with the Las Vegas Raiders between him and Darren Waller. You got another athletic freak here in Juwan Johnson that's been waiting to break out. He had some big moments last season in his limited opportunity. He was splitting snaps with a couple other guys, but now it's pretty much between him and Taysom Hill, who we'll talk about a little bit later as the main guys at that tight end position. All right. Next, we have Dalton Kincaid here. Obviously, this is a super talented tight end, receiving a slot big tight end here, and this is the draft capital is all baked into Dalton Kincaid. Are they going to utilize him? That's what you're banking in on, okay? You don't have much to go on off, but this is a team that needs a number 2 wide receiver here in the Buffalo Bills, and Dalton Kincaid can step in and be that reliable receiver. Yes, even in his rookie season, all right? Josh Allen, they need someone that's going to be a little more consistent than Gabe Davis. Dalton Kincaid is going to have to fill those shoes since they did not go out and be aggressive in that wide receiver market in the draft or in free agency. So it's going to be some pressure on the shoulders of Kincaid this year. He's going to have to step up. All right. The next guy we have as a sleeper is Jelani Woods. Now, this is a super deep sleeper here. Athleticism through the roof. Jack Doyle is gone as a tight end for the Colts. Obviously, you have Anthony Richardson, who is a very dynamic quarterback now. And Jelani Woods is a freak of nature. If you're looking at his metrics across the board, top tier echelon in his ratings across the board. He could have been a breakout candidate if there was a little more consistency here, but he's finally in a situation where he can be the number 1. We're going to see if he's going to be able to wake up this year, but he has a ton of upside, especially where he's going now in drafts. Pretty much as your last round pick, you can scoop up Jelani Woods, okay? And then last but not least, we have Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz has just been a super consistent tight end year in and year out, obviously with the Dallas Cowboys. Last year, he finished with 57 receptions, 577 yards, and 5 TDs. If we're looking at a prior season, 104 targets, 78 receptions, 808 receiving yards, and 8 TDs, all right? He's just a mainline, streamlined tight end that's going to most likely finish top 10 each and every year. Now, he's coming over from being a reliable pass catcher with Dak Prescott over to C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud, as a rookie quarterback, you need someone that you can lean on that is going to come down with the ball each and every time. Dalton Schultz is the veteran of that wide receiver core, and he's going to have to be the guy to be the safety blanket for C.J. Stroud. I have no problem for Schultz doing that yet again this year. That's what he's been doing all his career, and it's going to continue, especially with a very young unit here with the Houston Texans. All right, so that's why I like Dalton Schultz as a sleeper as well. Let's go continue on to our last tier here in the later upside. All right, Irv Smith, he's been having a very up and down career, pretty much down for the majority of it. He gets an opportunity now with the Cincinnati Bengals. If you want to throw a dart on someone that has nothing but upside because of how far he is down on the list, then you could take a shot out on Irv Smith. He has the athleticism to do so. Now you have a situation with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. In that offense, he could fly under the radar and have some opportunities similar to what Hayden Hurst did last season, all right? Now, speaking of Hayden Hurst, now with the Carolina Panthers, he's someone that's reliable. You saw him have some huge upside games with the Cincinnati Bengals, with Joe Burrow throwing him the football, and now he can be that safety blanket for Bryce Young in this offense now in Carolina. So that's where the upside belongs with Hayden Hurst if you want to go that route. Next, we have Sam Laporta, who is now the #1 tight end for the Detroit Lions. All right, TJ Hawkinson left a big hole to fill. Brock Wright was the backup guy. He has no athleticism, but he did have a couple big games. And now you're talking about an athletic tight end and Sam Laporta, who has size and speed combination. That's going to be taking over the #1 ranks at that tight end. So Sam Laporta this year, where he's going right now, he can be someone you can consider very, very late as well. Next guy we have is Taysom Hill, and Taysom Hill here is your gadget. All right, he's your joker, similar to what I said about Greg Dolce. Taysom Hill is your guy that's going to run the Wildcat formation. He can do end arounds. He can run the ball for you as well. He was super creative last year, the way that they used him. So he's not going to really bump too much with Juwan Johnson touches, really. He can take some snaps from Derek Carr as well. The way that they utilize him, he can throw the football. So there's a multiple avenues that Taysom Hill can get fantasy points. So I'm telling you, year after year, Taysom Hill always comes through with some big games. Don't be surprised that he has another handful this year. He's more of a best ball play because you want to take advantage of those spike weeks that he will have this year. All right. And then next we have Trey McBride here of the Arizona Cardinals. Zach Ertz is he most likely is going to retire. He's still hurt right now, not ready to come back. And now the #1 tight end in this offense will be Trey McBride. He finished last year on a little bit of a brighter note, obviously behind Zach Ertz for the majority of the season. And he finally got an opportunity and he shined just a little bit. So if you want a punt tight end yet again, you can look towards Trey McBride. And then last but not least, you see that's Dawson Knox, but that's not really Dawson Knox. That's Michael Mayer, okay? Michael Mayer for the Las Vegas Raiders. There's no one there, right? Darren Waller is gone. He went to the New York Giants, and now Michael Mayer is your #1 tight end. This was the #1 tight end coming out of college last year. He fell in the draft, and now you get a freak of nature here, taking advantage with Jimmy Garoppolo. Garoppolo has a good rapport with tight ends. He did with George Kittle. Michael Mayer is one of those type of guys that can block and receive, similar to a George Kittle. And Michael Mayer should receive a nice bit of target share, even as a rookie in this offense for the Raiders, all right? Right behind Devonta Adams, it should be Michael Mayer in this offense between him and Jacoby Myers, all right? So there's a big upside potential here with Michael Mayer being the #1 option, him going super late, that you can take advantage of this year. All right, so that is going to be our tier list for the tight ends. Let me know in that comment section down below if you would move someone higher or someone lower. Show some love in that comment section down below right now. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button, and don't forget, if you're a viewer and not currently a subscriber, go ahead and click that subscribe button right now. All right, so thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be back with another video very soon, so peace out.